Hey guys, Chris at the Ultimate Recycler. Here's a great relic of yesteryear. We picked this up from a rural property just recently. It was lying in the grass beside a shed. Now it's an old sandstone hand crank sharpening wheel. It would have been mounted in something differently originally because the base it's on now is a cast iron sewing machine treadle base. It's not a Singer, which are the most common. This one actually isn't branded. And as you can see, it's quite broken. That stay has come off there. The whole corner's missing. It would have connected up to here. Obviously the weight of the wheel is pushing that down. This other end appears to be okay, so that gives you an idea of what this end used to look like. So as it is, look, the guy was just going to throw it in the scrap metal. The stone itself, the old sharpening stone, I could take it off and that would sell just as a garden ornament, and I might get $10, maybe $20 if I was ambitious. And it would be just a quick matter of getting the angle grinder out and grinding those old nuts off there, and the rest of it's probably scrap metal. But it's worth a repair, I think. I think it shouldn't take too long just to fix it up. It'll still be a garden ornament. It won't ever be able to sharpen things again, not in this format. But what I need to do is obviously repair the breakages. Now cast iron is very brittle, especially the old cast iron. It snaps very easily. It's a high carbon steel. It's obviously cast, hence the name cast iron. And it is enormously brittle. I could just hit that with a hammer and the thing would just basically break up and fall into bits. But because it's only really this corner, I'm going to try and give it a repair. I just noticed it's actually cracked through that section there as well. Yep, look at that. But look, a bit of old rusty angle iron. We'll just put a few bolts through the frame. All we really need to do is to get this wheel assembly kind of up level, and that's going to be great for a garden ornament, and it'll make a big difference to the price. So I'll find a bit of iron. I've got a yard full of bits and pieces, as many of you know, and I'm sure I can find something to mock up a corner section for that frame, and then we'll have something saleable. Shouldn't take too long. So I found a couple of nice old pieces of angle iron. It's probably very suitable age-wise. It's a bit bent, it's quite rusty, it looks absolutely perfect. I've just marked out with a texter there where I'm going to cut this one. I'll cut it back so that that bolt hole actually lines up with that existing bolt, and then I'll cut a section out so that sits flat, and that will give me a flat section here to put another piece of angle iron along the side right down against the frame to basically make a fourth leg for it. So it shouldn't take long to do. I'll just get the angle grinder out and cut this off, and I'll work out the length I need after I do that first section. So I've attached that new piece of angle iron, and as luck would have it, the bolts actually undid without turning off, which is great because I wanted to use rusty old bolts. It would look terrible with nice shiny bolts. And also the square section nuts are much older, and most old machinery had those. A hex nut wouldn't have quite fitted with the age. Now I'm having a bit more luck here because I just took the bolt out of that one which held that other cast iron bracket. This one, well, it's the remains of the frame, broken both ends. I probably won't use that, but the hole in this angle iron that I found actually lined up to give a pretty straight piece there, so that's good. So all I'll do is I should be able to reuse an old bolt to go back in there as well, and I might just trim that off with the grinder. It's going to leave a clean cut which will be sort of shiny, but it'll rust pretty quickly. So that'll neaten that up, and then all we need to do is run a bit of angle iron up this side, and I found a piece here which I'll put probably on the inside, and we've just got to bolt through, bring this up to roughly level and run a bolt through there. I'll have to drill a hole for that, but that should complete the job. It'll look a lot nicer, and we'll have something very saleable, and it'll kind of look like an old repair, which will suit it nicely. Now I've decided to add an extra bit of metal along here because it kind of finishes the top section off nicely. It'll also provide somewhere where I can bring the angle iron up from underneath that, so it'll kind of hide the freshly cut top of it. I can bolt through that existing hole. I'll have to drill a secondary hole here to go through that cast iron piece. But it just finishes off nicely. It's not really needed for support, but I had a bit of angle iron left over, so it's worth doing, I think. Alright, so now I've just got to drill a few holes, do a little bit more grinding, and find a couple of extra bolts, and we're just about finished. So now you can enjoy a little bit of drilling and grinding, seeing so I haven't shown any yet, and then we'll show you the end product. And there we go, job's finished. It looks more balanced now. The old steel I found matches beautifully. The ends where I've just ground off and cut off will rust very quickly. And it looks fantastic. It's going to be a great garden ornament. I think I've turned something that wasn't much more than scrap metal into a fairly unique garden ornament. I don't use the word unique all the time, but you wouldn't find too many old sharpening stones on sewing machine bases, particularly ones with a bit of a repair like we've just done. So that looks pretty good. That piece in the corner there isn't quite as rusty as the others, but it's a fairly thin piece, so it's not so noticeable. It basically gives the whole thing a fourth leg. Very stable, and I think we can even crank it. Look at that. Beautiful. I could go and sharpen my scissors. Certainly not the most efficient piece. There's no bearings, it just runs through steel, but hey, it's all a matter of just being a garden ornament now, so I reckon that's awesome. I'll stick that out the front of the shop now, and I think that's a $100 ornament now. Very happy with that. And it really only took, I suppose it took me an hour, but I spent quite a long time rummaging around for nice old square-headed nuts, and I wanted to have it all looking sort of suitable for the age. Alright, well thanks for watching. I wasn't even going to film this, I just dragged it out of the van and thought, well, I might as well show you how I can do a quick fix on this and value add. Alright, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.